Hello, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley. Hi, how are ya? Today's video that I have for you guys is going to be my November TBR. I do have about 13 books on here. Realistically, will I read all of them? No, but I can dream. So yeah, let's just get on into it. Now, the first two books I have on my TBR are books that I started and then decided to like softy enough them just like wait till like fall November time to read them because they're both like fantasy, and I feel like for me like certain fantasies like reading in the fall and then certain ones are like springtime. So yeah, I started reading these and just decided that I would rather read them like in the fall, like fall November time. Sorry, there's a squirrel on my tree. Okay. The first two, so yeah, starting off with the books that I would like to finish this month are Caraval. I'm sure we all know about this book. Very popular last year. But basically it's about this girl there's this like festival kind of like game thing called Caraval that's held like once a year each year in a different spot. And this girl, I don't remember the character's names, but she decides to go, and she goes with her sister, and her sister ends up getting taken being part of the game, and the only way for her to find the only way for her sister gets taken, and then the only way to get her sister back is to be able to win the game. And then next up is Little Thieves. Like I said, also started reading this one. Would like to finish it this year or this month. But this one is about a girl. She ends up disguising herself as the princess and is like basically like stealing from everyone in the kingdom because she's trying to make enough money to like live on her own and get out from under her stepmothers. Then she ends up I think it's like a witch forest, or yeah, it's like a forest goddess ends up putting a curse on her for stealing. So she needs to figure out a way to reverse the curse and also get enough money to get out from under her stepmothers. Next up is Ninth House by Leah Bargo. Again, I'm sure we've all heard of this one. It was very popular like last year or the year before. It's a dark academia. It's this girl Alex, who ends up getting into Yale, and she ends up joining or finding out about this like dark secret society at Yale. It's this like dark secret society. It says they tamper with forbidden magic, they raise the dead, and sometimes prey on the living. Next up is a book that I have been meaning to pick up for the longest time, but just haven't, so I finally decided to pick it up the other day. Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. And I actually followed her on TikTok for the longest time, like before I even realized that she was the author of this book. So I've been following her for like a year or so now and didn't even realize that she was the author of this series. With the ailing family to support, each stage employment status isn't just important, it's vital. So when a mashup at the Renaissance most infamous villain results in a job offer, naturally she says yes. No job is perfect, of course, but even less so when you develop a teeny crush on your terrifyingly temperamental and undeniably hot boss. But just when she's getting used to severed heads suspended from the ceiling and the odd squish of eyeballs beneath her heels, Eve suspects this dungeon has a huge rat, and not just the literal kind, because something rotten is growing in the kingdom, and someone wants to take the villain and his entire nefarious empire out. Next up is Patricia Wants to Cuddle by Samantha Allen. I've seen this book in Barnes & Noble for so long, and it was always so interesting. So I decided to pick it up. I'm going to be reading it this month. When the final 4 contestants of a reality dating show arrive at a mysterious island in the Pacific Northwest, they prepare themselves for another week of extreme sleep deprivation, invasive interviews, and of course, the salacious drama eager viewers nationwide tune in to devour. Enter Patricia, a temperamental and woefully misunderstood local living alone in the dark. Enter Patricia, a temperamental and woefully misunderstood local living in the dark Vander Woods. Through twists as unexpected as they are wildly entertaining, the self-absorbed cast and jaded crew each make their acquaintance atop the island's tallest peak, finding themselves at the center of an action-packed thriller that is far from scripted. And only the few will make the final cut. Alright, next up is Hex Your Ex by Erin Sterling. Again, this is a pretty popular one. This girl, Vivian, who accidentally ends up putting a hex on one of her exes. Obviously. She ends up accidentally putting a curse on like one of her exes. She does it like just for like fun, like not thinking it'll actually work, but then it does. And then she has to figure out how to like take the curse off of him. Is Forest Burn by Elaine Audrey Becker. Alright. Bora is a shifter. She is also a spy working for the king. And then there's this mysterious illness that ends up falling over the kingdom, and the only thing that can save it is this magical element called stardust. So Rosa needs to go back to the forest where she originally grew up to be able to save the kingdom. Next up is The Haunted by Jessica Verde. It is the second book in the Hollow trilogy. I read the first one like years ago. I originally read it when I was first in high school, and then I like reread it a few years ago. I don't know why I've been like waiting to read this book. They are longer books. They're both like, all 3 of them are like 400 to 500 pages. So they are a bit longer. But I don't know why I've just been putting it off. So I'm finally going to read this one because I loved the first book. It's one of my favorite books I ever read. So I would like to continue on with this one. It's after months spent reclaiming her sanity and trying to forget the boy she fell in love with, the boy who cannot exist, because she knows he is dead. Abby returns to Sleepy Hollow, ready to leave the ghosts of her past behind. She throws herself into schoolwork, her perfume making, and her friendship with Ben, a cute and funny lab partner, who just might be her ticket to getting over Caspin once and for all. But Abby can never get over Caspin, and Caspin has no choice but to return to her side, for Caspin is a shadow. Abby is his destiny. They are tied to not only each other, but also the town of Sleepy Hollow and the infamous legend that binds their fates, a legend whose dark truths they are only beginning to guess. So yes, that is that one. I'm very excited to read this one. And continue on with the series. It is A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. Starts with a letter and an ominous journey across the dark waters. 10 years after being sent away to the mainland to become a bard, Jack Tamerlan is summoned home to Cadence. Girls are going missing from the island, and Adrian, his childhood nemesis and future leader of the clan, believes Jack is the only one who can find them. The elemental springs that dwell in every breath of air, splash of water, blade of grass, and flicker of fire find mirth in the living of the humans, and a bard's music is the only way to summon them, and ask that the girls be returned. Yet as Jack and Adrian get closer to solving the mystery, it becomes apparent that an older, darker secret about Cadence lurks beneath the surface, and no harp song may be strong enough to stop it. And then the last book I have for my November TBR is Sam by Allegra Goodman. Sam is 7 years old, living in Beverly, Massachusetts. She adores her father, though he isn't around much. Her mother struggles to make ends meet and never fails to remind Sam that if she studies hard and acts responsibly, adulthood will be easier, more secure and comfortable. But security and comfort are a little interest to Sam. She doesn't fit in at school, where the other girls have the right shade of blue jeans and don't question the rules. Sam doesn't care about jeans or rules. All she wants to do is climb, hanging from the highest limb of the tallest tree. Scaling the side of a building, Sam feels free. As a teenager, Sam begins to doubt herself. She yearns to be noticed, even as she wants to disappear. When her climbing coach takes an interest in her, his attention is more complicated than she anticipated. She resents her father's erratic behavior, but she grieves once he's gone. And she resists her mother's attempts to plan for her future, even as the future draws closer. That was my November TBR. Like I said, probably not going to read all of these. Definitely not going to read all of these. I'm definitely going to get distracted by other books. But if you guys would like to follow along and see me read at least some of these books, then you should definitely subscribe and keep on watching. I try to upload every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday. That is going to be my goal moving in for at least the rest of the year. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a good one. Bye!